friend.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. You thought you got away from this. You're having a little break from between season 1 and 2, but it follows you wherever you go.
I know that mask is always looking over my shoulder. I actually don't have one of these. I should get one. And I don't know. Never. Really?
We're gifting you. We give gifts here at Young Hollywood.
It's the new gifting suite.
I don't know if this gentleman looks familiar to you.
It does look very familiar. It's like an old friend.
It is like an old friend for you, isn't it? Does it bring back warm, fuzzy feelings?
Warm memories. It makes me feel cozy, comfortable.
Well, we tried to give it to Kevin, but I think he might be a little sick of this guy right now.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's just so funny. I think it's a shame that it's an Edgar Allan Poe mask. I think it's time for a Joe Carroll mask.
Do you?
Yeah.
I know you guys were here last year. The show hadn't aired last year.
Right.
This year, I'm sure the experience and having sort of fans talk about the show. How has it been for you?
Really great. There was a lot of enthusiasm, and it is a much easier kind of task to come back, especially when people responded to it.
What has been the reaction for you when you walk down the street?
It's a kind of a curious thing. People tend to back away from me, although I do my best to make them feel at home and welcome in my company. But of course, that's what Joe Carroll does, so that just makes them even more suspicious. It's when I get into an elevator with a lone female, and she doesn't really pay much attention to begin with, and then glances over and sees it's me, and that's when you feel them trying to crawl into a corner.
He's just a very good actor, people.
Well,
Leave him
I
alone.
do. I spend a lot of time going, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to frighten you. I'm terribly sorry. And
You get away with a lot on this show. A lot of things that people can't get away with showing on TV before, and that you kind of know all the tricks and how to get things past.
There's no tricks. It's just, it implied scary violence is better than actually showing it. When you watch the show, you'll walk away and go, oh, that was very bloody. But if you really go back and look at it, there's not that much blood. Or if you see blood, it's always the aftermath. I'm more interested in the scare than I am the blood, and I'm more interested in the moment after the scare than I am the dead body.
What scares you?
Lawsuits scare me. The dark scares me.
There's so many villains, especially at Comic-Con. There's these grandiose villains. You're so calculated, and you're so calm, and I almost think that's scarier.
well, I think it's scarier. That's exactly how I feel about it. He never raises his voice. He never looks mad. He never looks crazy, but he'll be looking at you, thinking about cutting your eyes out.
And I know they talked about season 2 might be a jump forward in time, a little bit in time. How is it going to be a fresh take on season 1?
It's still going to be scary. There's still going to be twists and turns and things that you don't see coming.
In season 2, how is it going to be sort of a fresh take on season 1?
We ended up at the end of the last season with an awful lot of murder and mayhem and people dying, and we weren't sure who was dead and who was alive. What do you do? Where do you go if you're a serial killer and you've been blown out of the water by the FBI? You have to regroup.
I think we're also going to try to explore as much as possible the emotional life of the characters, which is exciting for me because I love the scary stuff. The stuff that I really like to play is love or sadness. It's a little more satisfying than just coming around a corner. I do a lot of coming around corners,
Yeah. You have Vampire Diaries here and you have this, and it's such a different fan base.
Yeah.
What kind of mind creates two such different shows like that?
Well, you can see the comparisons if you look. They're both emotional horror. The thing that they have in common is they're both twisty, surprising. Hopefully there's a lot of twists and turns and plot surprises that mix with the emotional storylines.
I know Comic-Con is about fans and fandomonium, and such diehard fans seem to come here. At this stage in your career, you've done so many things. Do you ever get starstruck? Is there anybody who still awes you?
I get starstruck, frankly, by rock and roll musicians.
Who's your fave? Bono's my man.
Yeah, well, I met Bono once. It was fantastic. The few times in my life when I've met a Beatle or a Rolling Stone or, Yeah.
Did you ever play music with these guys?
I have, yeah. I have.
A Beatle? Have you played with a Beatle?
No, I never played with a Beatle, no. I've never played with a Beatle. But, look, sometimes your paths cross, and it's a nice feeling.
And now you have your Comic-Con costume, so there you go.
There you go. I can go on the floor, and no one will know who I am.